Thank you for everyone who's watched my video on Where's the Garden of Eden. I appreciate very much the comments and those of you who've supported this channel and become a subscriber. Thank you for that. I've noticed that many people have given the suggestion that Noah's flood obliterated the earth, and so it's a futile task to ask where in the Bible is the Garden of Eden. And of course, the text does say things like the earth is divided, and even in the Hebrew text, it says something like earth is destroyed during the flood. But I don't think that's the suggestion that the Bible would want us to take to the difficulty. And the chief reason is because Moses, and I'm assuming Moses did write the Pentateuch, he wrote after the flood, and he's writing to a people who were reading the text after the flood, and he knew where the Euphrates River was, he knew where the Nile River was, and his audience did. And so there's to say that he's using the words that they know, but assuming that they're just unconnected in any way, I think that's a mistake. And the second reason, because the Bible is very clear that Eden is connected with Jerusalem. It's not in the Philippines. Thank you for the thousands of people who've made that suggestion, but there's nothing in the Bible that would connect it to the Philippines. It's not in Missouri. It's not any other place except in Jerusalem. And here's how we know that. We're told that there's a garden in Eden, and that the tree of life is there. So when you find the tree of life, you found the garden. Well, if you go to Scripture, and so here, we're talking about the tree of life. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the tree of life. Okay, so this phrase. So if we type in the tree of life, it only appears in one other place, and that is in New Jerusalem, that's going to be restored to earth, coming down from God. But clearly, New Jerusalem and Eden are connected. The Bible makes that connection. And when we come back to these rivers and we start looking at the cross references to these rivers, what we get immediately is this reference that's picked up in Revelation 21 and 22 of Ezekiel. And if you go back and read the Ezekiel text, it's not this has been obliterated. It's not, oh, this is in the Philippines. It's, this is Jerusalem. He's seeing a vision of Jerusalem as it's going to one day be restored. And here's why the Bible wants us to look for Eden. So those who would say, oh, it's, I appreciate the comments, oh, you'll never find it. No, you will find it. It's going to be restored to earth, connected with Jerusalem. That's the ancient Jewish view text, connect Jerusalem and Eden. But if it is connected, then I want you to think about the beauty of the metanarrative, because then if Eden and Jerusalem are connected, then the place where Adam spiritually murdered the entire human race because his wife wanted to be God is the exact place where God became man, lived under his own law, never sinned once in thought, word, or deed, and then by being murdered, he unmurdered all those who would ever come to him by faith. If Eden and Jerusalem are connected, there's gold, bdellium, and onyx in the temple, just as gold, bdellium, and onyx are associated with the rivers. They're cherubs. They're cherubs in the temple, cherubs in Eden. And so this earthly place, albeit scarred by the flood, nevertheless is the place. God has a sense of geography, and the connection is there. And so that's why you have these statements. David says there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God. And if you've ever been to Jerusalem, Jerusalem has no river, but David is saying there is a river, and it's Eden's river. And that's why the little fountain stream is called the Gihon. And of course, that's one of the rivers mentioned in Eden. So I think it's right to say, that something remarkable happened in the flood, but that's not the solution to the difficulty of finding Eden. Eden is found for us in the Bible, and it's Jerusalem. Appreciate your comments as always. Look forward to interacting, and hope you have all the best today. Thanks.